Syrians in Damascus and other parts of the world were seen waving the Syrian flag in celebration of an end to the tyrannical rule of the Assad family. The development came when Islamist rebel groups led by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham took over the capital city and declared that President Bashar al-Assad had fled the country. But what does it mean for the Syrians in reality? And how does the fall of this government impact India? Our reporter Fayisa spoke to the former Indian ambassador to Libya and Jordan, Anil Trigunayat, who spoke on the ground realities of Syria and its neighbouring countries while also explaining its impact over India.
Welcome to New Indian Express, sir. Thanks a lot for your time. So,
Thank you.
first, I think we can start by can you just give us a picture of what is happening in Syria?
Well, as you know, that the organization, it's an Islamic organization called Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS as it is called, which used to be Jawat al-Nusra and earlier associated with the ISIS as well as with Al-Qaeda, has taken advantage of a prevailing geopolitical situation in my view, where Iran and Russia are essentially burdened with their own problems and therefore unable to help. And then they have, in a very quick fashion, tried to overtake the major towns, starting from Idlib down to Aleppo to Hama to Homs. And then this morning they reached Syria, in Damascus, whereby they have been welcomed by most of the people. The army has also, it seems, refused to fight. And it appears Assad has left the country, and the existing prime minister has continued and agreed that he will be handing over power to the new leaders. So, while Mr. Jolani, who is the head of the HTS, has said that this is a regime change and not a revenge against Syrians or any government bodies. So today, as of now, the situation looks all right, but how will eventually play out remains to be seen, because there are many groups. They are there. How will the power distribution will work? How will they handle the other issues with other partners like Russia and Iran, so to say, and Turkey in that case also is very important because it has been supporting them and has also been against the Kurdish groups there. So we'll have to see how it plays out. At the moment, everything is quite dynamic.
Okay, so you have mentioned that Hezbollah and Iran are in a weak position now because of its war with Israel. So, do you think there is something else that has triggered? So, that is one thing that the rebel groups have considered. But then, is there something else that have also triggered the sudden uprising in Syria?
In fact, this is although Assad had declared victory a few years ago, and he has also been readmitted into the Arab League, and everybody had understood that. But as you know, in the northwestern part, these Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, they've been present there. In the northeastern part is the Free Syrian Army and the Kurdish people who are controlling it. So it's not that Assad was in control of the whole country. And there are 13 million refugees who are outside in different countries. So, plus 90% of the people is below poverty line. So they have been continuing to face major problems, and the domestic discontent was very much there. Secondly, when they are making, but at the same time, these groups have been preparing. It's not that they just woke up today and they started doing it. They have been preparing it for quite some time. But this is an opportune time which happened because the main protagonists and supporters of Assad, whether it is Russia or whether it is Iran or Hezbollah or others, they are not in a position because of their own wars, their own compulsions, to help him. So that's the reason that it was easier. Secondly, I'm quite sure that they would have been in touch with other groups within the country and taking the view exactly whether they are going to be welcomed or not. And it appears that throughout the M5 that they have driven, They have been mostly welcomed by a large number of people, and they have been making right noises. Now, the question is also whether this group, STS, which has been a part of the ISIS, part of Al Qaeda philosophy and ideologies, whether it will continue to completely banish that image and change itself into a different kind of a grouping. That looks very unlikely. And how would the other groups, which have now helped them come into power, will be able to basically readjust the power sharing? And what happens to the other minority groups, like the Shias, there are Druze, there are Alawites, and there are Christians. So 10% of the population. So if there can be some kind of a communal harmony, or we will be seeing some communal disturbances. So there are so many ifs and buts. Secondly, lot will depend on exactly how the international community is going to provide assistance to them, because poverty is something, lack of opportunity is something other, which has of course gone against Assad, who has not addressed them at all.
Okay. So we're also talking about larger powers involved, like Russia, US, and today morning we have reports of Israel invading Syria. They've started ground invasion. So how do you think this crisis or this the development will affect the Middle East and other countries, other larger powers involved in Syria in this conflict?
As you know, that Israel has been controlling Golan Heights, which had been part of Syria, but in 1981 they have annexed it, and they had taken over it in 1967. And President Trump, in his last term, had also acknowledged sovereignty of Israel over Golan Heights. Now there is also a bit of a upper corridor there, and that corridor is in fact working. That's been breached. According to the information, it seems that Israel is actually prepared to defend, because there will be a lot of people coming from Iraq, from others, and a lot of Syrian refugees will be returning and all. So I think that from that point of view, they are not really getting into. They have breached. They have probably repositioned their strength as of now. But it does not mean that the new government which will come into power will be friendlier to Israel. Because they will have their own. If it is a fundamentalist group which comes into power, they obviously will continue to have problems with Israel and fight against it. Secondly, this Golan Heights are with them, so that will always remain a problem issue, whichever government comes to power. And if it is a pro-Turkey government, obviously Turkey and Israel relations are not at their best. So we are not going to look at that. As far as USA is concerned, Trump has said, others have said that we are not involved, we are watching closely, but they have been very much part of the Free Syrian Army, which is also supporting the HTS and other groups in this campaign. So the bigger powers have been playing a role. Only thing is that Russia, which was supposed to have protected them, they depended more on the Free Syrian Army from the Syrian Arab Army, which is the official army of Assad, which has refused to fight, frankly, or go against them. They have rather given up. A large number of them have given up their arms ammunition. So we are looking at that very peculiar situation at this stage.
Okay. Finally, what do you think the implications of this conflict will be on India? How will it affect India, or will it affect India?
Well, I don't think there's directly going to be any major impact on India. Of course, we have several projects there. We have always stood by the Syrian people. We have provided them humanitarian assistance, whether during the earthquake or otherwise. And whichever government was in power there, India has dealt with it. And we'll have to recalibrate our approaches once again. Of course, any instability in the region, if it prolonged instability, would have a problem for India's security concerns as well. So I believe that immediately there may not be a big impact, but we'll have to work towards stabilizing the region in any case.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Is there something that you would like to add?
No, I hope that whatever Mr. Jolani is saying, that there'll be no revenge and that he would like to continue. Hopefully, he will adhere to it and will find a way, because Syria is a historic civilizational country, and we hope that there will be peace eventually at the end.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time, sir.